Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Dawn and welcome. I'm so glad you joined us. Today we are going to talk about something that is a little personal to me, and that is my anxiety journey. I hope this story encourages you. I hope this teaches you to just like put your focus and trust in Jesus, no matter how bad your circumstances are, and to also live your life unapologetically. All right, so my anxiety journey is a little personal to me. I just want to give you a little story of what happened. It was last year, May 16th. I know it's so crazy that I actually remember the date because when it happened, it really shook me. It was something that I had actually never gone through before. I was putting the kids to bed. We had a long day, and I was putting Ahana to bed, and I just don't know, like it was almost like something switched in my brain. I felt my heart palpitating. I went to this like super extreme fear mode. Like I get anxiety, but not like this. And so I went to this like extreme fear mode. My heart was palpitating. I was pacing. I left the room abruptly, and I told the kids to, go to sleep. Monty was walking the dog. He came back home and he was just like, "What's going on?" And I was trying to explain what was going on without really understanding what was going on. I mean, honestly, it was crazy time. And I was pacing and I just didn't know what was going on in my brain, and that day started my journey to understand my brain, really. So what happened that day was super scary to me. I was scared of my own voice. I was scared if I thought of a song and it kept playing in my head. I thought that was abnormal. That would make me super anxious. I wasn't sleeping at night. I was waking up at the same time every day. I would just, I don't know, my palms were sweaty. I would ask Monty to just hold me. I mean, honestly, like props to my husband, because that was just a messy time, and honestly one of really dark periods of my life. I look back at everything that has happened in my life, right? And I look back at last year, and I was, with my parents. My mom was trying to help me, my sister, my dad, my husband. I mean, honestly, thank God I had such a close-knit family. Like they really came through and just held me through that time. And I was just trying to understand what was going on, like I didn't understand it. I was like, okay, I get anxious thoughts, but what is going on in my brain? Like something shifted like in my brain. So I really just want to talk about, what are the steps I took to get to today where I am. I talk of anxiety as a journey. Mental healing and mental wellness, honestly, is a journey. I don't know if I've like gotten to 100% yet, but I'm definitely not where I used to be. That part of my life it honestly makes me so upset, because not upset, like it just makes me so emotional, because it was such a tough time. Just trying to pull through, all of that. Sorry. Cut. What are the steps I took to heal from that? There were so many things I started researching and, started pretty much just implementing. One of the first thing I did was I just started praying. I'm a Christian. I trust in God, right? And I was just praying and asking God, like, God, help me to meet people that help me make sense out of this. Like, help me to meet people that are going to explain my brain to me, what's going on. What shifted in my brain? Why am I so scared? Why am I so anxious? So just I started filling my brain, honestly, and my thoughts with God's word and with positive thoughts. Like every time a negative one would come in that was bringing in anxiety, I would just try to push it out and start repeating verses, like God has not given me a spirit of fear, but a power of love and of a sound mind. And God said, fear not. He said, fear not. And, just like a lot of things like that, I just started really praying and asking God for his guidance. And number two was I started seeing a therapist, which was great on its own. I was able to deal with so many things that were just like childhood trauma, but also just like trauma that was currently happening that led to what was going on last year. And I started taking a lot of like really like steps. I've always been the kind, I feel like, is always trying to people please. I always worry about how I'm making people feel, and I realized like no more. I'm gonna cut that out. And if you don't like me for who I am, you don't like me for who I am, right? Like I'm not a terrible person, I'm a good person, but I just cannot do things at the detriment of my own mental healing. So those were the two big steps that I did. Another thing I did was I found this lady, or this doctor named Dr. Carolyn Leaf. She's a neurophysicist, and look her up on YouTube. She has so many big videos, and she has a cycle called a methodology called neurocycling, which was almost like an app. And it's a lot of journaling and trying to figure out like trauma that led to what it is today, like what what happened, you know? And so I did a lot of journaling, started listening to her a lot to try to make sense out of what was going on with me. And during that process, I really started digging deep into like situations that were currently happening that was making my brain function the way it was, right? Like I was harboring so much unforgiveness towards somebody, and I felt like, you know, there was so much hurt there and so much resentment that led from that hurt and so much unforgiveness. And I was like, you know what, Dawn, like, let it go, because it's literally changing your brain. So let it go, you know, ask for apology and let it go. You know, you don't have to and there's something I've learned about forgiveness or unforgiveness is you can forgive people, but you don't have to let them into your life in that capacity ever again. You know, like, you do what's good for you. And I knew what was good for me. And that was one of the big steps I took towards like setting very strong boundaries. You know, that was very important. And just dealing with a lot of those traumas with my therapist, you know, and talking about it with my parents. Like, my mom and I would talk about things that I honestly had never told my mom, you know. I started talking to her about those things. So that was really healing. I don't know how I came across this lady. I truly believe God, you know, led me to her page on Instagram, but her handle is @peacefromwithin. Her name is Lily. And I just started following her and kind of just reading everything, you know, that she was posting. And one of her biggest things is talking about thoughts. Like, thoughts have such a big presence or control hold over you, right? Like, thoughts in itself honestly are meaningless. They're not really anxiety provoking, nor are they, you know, thoughts are anxiety provoking, but they're not good or bad, honestly. They're just neutral. So every time I would have an anxious thought, I would tell myself, thoughts are meaningless, thoughts are neutral. It's just my interpretation of that thought that's making me anxious. But this thought that is making me anxious is going to go away in a second, and a good thought's going to come. So it is okay. Like, thoughts are okay. Anxiety even is okay. It's a natural human process, you know? So the less you get anxious about being anxious, the less anxious you will get. It is funny, I know. And then the last thing I think that really helped me was keeping myself busy. Like, thank God I had two girls who were so young. I mean, they are 4 and 3 now, but back then they were 3 and 2, you know. And thank God I had 2 kids, you know, honestly, to keep myself busy. I don't know where, if I was just sitting at home and thinking about these things, I would have probably driven myself crazy. So thank God they kept me busy. And so it really helped to be a mommy of 2 busy toddlers at that time. So anyways, I mean, those are some of the things that I did. And truly, at the end of the day, I can say that I'm not where I was last year, you know, and I can delve deeper into any of those points. And if you guys have anything you've done, or what was your experience like, or did you go through this stuff? You know, it truly is mind shaking, you know, and something I had never been through in all my life. So if you've been through it, please leave some comment below, like, subscribe. It'll really help us out. And thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate every one of you. See you back here for our next one.